Hey Mike, I recently saw in the news that they've discovered a new hominid, a woman X or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, this was found, this was apparently a finger bone found in Siberia. They tested the DNA, and the DNA testing indicated that this being was apparently a hominid related to us and our ancestors, and seemed to be, though, separate, but having some of the same characteristics that would place it somewhere intermediary between Homo erectus and Homo neanderthalis. And these, of course, are considered in our family tree and maybe our direct ancestors. So here's another form that's been discovered recently. Now, what's interesting about this is recently I read an article about a couple of different skeletons that were found in South Africa that indicate another couple of subspecies of Australopithecines. Now, the Australopithecines, of course, were the man-apes, the ones that are considered the first hominids to indicate and who are likely to be ancestors of modern humans because they were walking upright as old as 6 million years ago, these particular man-apes. So what's interesting is if you stop for a second and you look back over the last 10 years, in the last decade, we have come up with, well, let's see, there was a cave on the island of Flores in Indonesia that gave up about a dozen skeletons. These skeletons apparently ranged in age from 90,000 years old to about 12,000 years old, which would indicate a species that was contemporary with both Homo erectus and modern Homo sapiens over a stretch of time on this one particular island. Now, on many islands in the Indonesian group, Sumatra, Borneo, places like that, are tales of the orang pendek. And this island of Flores, it was called the Abu Gogo. And these are little hairy bipedal creatures running around the woods that look to be like little people, little hairy people, always upright on two legs. And these skeletons actually prove that these things existed, that they were real. These were not just a legend, as was thought before. And then another finding that took place over the last decade were what's known as the Billy apes, or the Bondo apes, and these are named for a particular area near the Congo in Africa, where the natives were speaking of the lion killers. And the lion killers were believed to be these gigantic apes that were somehow like a cross between a chimp and a gorilla that were capable of killing predators such as lions. And what was interesting was they made nests on the ground like gorillas do, rather than up in the trees like chimps do, but they looked more like a chimp. And that was also considered a legend. Michael Crichton wrote a book about it called Congo, which was made into a movie and so forth. Well, now for, I think, maybe 2.5 years or so, there have been scientists who have been hiding in the woods and studying these apes. And so far, the preliminary indication is that they are indeed chimpanzees, but they apparently are extra big. They're larger than the average chimpanzee, and they do indeed sleep on the ground because they're capable of killing predators such as lions, and they've been observed doing this. So, and they've found their footprints, and they have their scat, and we had all of that prior to them actually filming them and seeing them with their own eyes, the scientists, but they've now done that too, and there's ongoing study of these things. So, here, just in the last decade, we've come up with little foots, little hairy beings, bipedal creatures hiding in the forests. We've come up with several new species of man-apes in South Africa. We've come up with potentially another species of a hominid that's on our family tree that's in between Neanderthal, Homo erectus, and these apes. So here's all these things that 10 years ago we didn't even know about, and yet here's the academic community, the majority of them anyway, still arrogantly exclaiming that all of this Bigfoot research is bogus, that it's pseudoscience, it's fringe science, and all of this, that cryptozoology is not even a legitimate science. And yet, boy, if I were to start making little marks on the wall, I'd say I'd have to put up about a half a dozen of them for our team, because here's all these new animals being discovered, that supposedly didn't exist and were myths. And now we know they're real. So let's put some marks up for our side.